From AP exams to finals, DGS students feel the time slip away as these major testing events approach. And for some students out there, they feel the pressure even more, the perfectionists.
I'm probably a pretty big perfectionist.
I feel like it depends what I'm doing. Like when it comes to something like I care about, like that I'm really passionate about, I'm more of a perfectionist. But if it's something I don't really think about often, then not really.
With even simple work, I need to make sure it's perfect or as perfect as it can be because I'm not satisfied with it otherwise, no matter if it's small things or big things or anything like that.
Day to day, sometimes if I'm thinking about trying to be perfect at something, I don't know, it can make me annoyed when I'm not doing well at it.
My feeling, based on my experience, is that it really stems from a fear of failure.
Probably a need to feel like I've accomplished something and that I am good at things.
Just wanting to make yourself better, self-improvement, and maybe trying to be competitive.
So it seems to be that if I can't do it as well as I know I'm capable of doing it, then maybe I don't want to do it at all. So I'm going to kind of wait until I have this magical, vast time period to do it to the best of my ability and do it exceptionally, rather than kind of the approach of I have to jump through this hoop, I have to get it done. If I have time, I can improve it later. But there's more of kind of a block, it seems, to the idea of let me just turn something in to get something done. And it's more, I don't even want to turn anything in if it's not my best work. And that can create a backlog, which is very stressful.
You know, there's good and there's bad to it. So obviously, you know, it's good for someone to want to do very well and to do their best. And, you know, it encourages them to work hard. And, you know, as a teacher, you don't want students to just do something, right? You want them to really try their best and try to get something out of an assignment or whatever they're doing. The negative, though, is I think that a lot of students put a lot of extra undue pressure on themselves. That's, you know, more in their head than say what their teacher or their parent might expect from them. And so I think that can be negative because it can also lead to sometimes you know, anxiety and other mental health issues for students. And obviously you don't want students having to experience those things either. So I think students need to also find a balance of doing well and working hard, but not to the point where it makes it difficult for them to, you know, complete assignments or things like that because nothing is going to be good enough for them.
I think it is pretty prevalent in school, especially say with the kids who start taking honors classes, because then there's that push that they need to make sure that they're actually good enough for those classes and they need to prove it.
There's definitely a segment of the students who are perfectionists. I see it a lot in my AP class. I think that students who are high achieving students, a lot of them are perfectionists.
So anything that I have to say, I would caution generalization to all, because it's really just based on my experience, not based on any research that I've conducted. But I think that perfectionism is really prevalent. And I would say I see it more often with a lot of my honors AP students who sometimes have difficulty managing the rigor of the courses that I know and they know that they're intelligent enough for, but then there are some kind of functional aspects of time management and turning this stuff in that sometimes can get in the way. And perfectionism can really play a role more in people getting stuck, in my observation.
I see it through a lot of people, in the classroom, everyone's striving to get better. From a soccer point of view through sports, everyone's always trying to push themselves to get to the next level, be a team, win competition.
I try to cope in some ways with helping the student to gain insight into the self-awareness that it's happening in the first place. Because if someone doesn't even have self-awareness about it, it's impossible to ever change. You have to first know what's happening, A. B, identify it as a problem, and a serious enough problem that you're willing to engage in changing habits, which is also a stressful and difficult process. So it's just the awareness, the motivation, and then the execution, which executing change is stressful and hard, and especially with my high achieving students who have very limited time for school-based support or even outside of school-based support, like outside counseling and making time for it tends to be a really important step C, right? We said A, B, C, because you have to do the work to accomplish the change, and doing the work is hard and time consuming. So for folks who have a lot of limits on their time, that can be difficult also.
Mostly I just try to like accept what I have and understand that it's where I'm at, and people do grow. It's just not something that you have to do right at this moment. It happens over time.
I try to remember, like, I don't always have to be perfect, so I just try my best, and, you know, like I said, I'm always trying to get better, but I don't necessarily need to, like, focus only on being perfect, like, kind of getting there is also a big part.
If a student comes in and talks to me about something, obviously I want to be available to students. And I also just kind of, by just, talking in class and saying, like, you gotta do your best, but your best is the best you can do. Like, you can't do any better. And just kind of realizing that there's gonna be a lot of stuff that they're gonna do in life, and, like, they're gonna be fine. I mean, I think that's a lot of what I have to do, is a lot of reassurance for students. And just turn in what you have, because theoretically it will never be good enough. What I want to see is where you're at now.
Mostly with like big projects, or especially in music, hence the instrument, say with like recordings and music, I can't like handle there even being like one mistake in them.
Sometimes it can make me mad. Like, I could come home after not, like, playing well, not be very proud of myself. But when I do feel like I did well, then it, like, makes the highs higher, It makes me more proud of myself.
I mean, I think that we have availability of support. I don't know, because I'm not in the honors classes and I'm not a teacher, I don't know to what extent is it proactively discussed. I think that my observation is that there can be more of a cutthroat kind of dynamic for a lot of the students who have been in this kind of very high achieving, gifted cohort together, and that works against change. I don't know what more we can do, because individual decision making is really an important part of the process.
I mean, they kind of do with like the stress courses, but I feel like they should kind of give more resources in that like field, and like maybe instead of more focus on stress, like why are the kids so stressed out, and like maybe realign like the workloads, or like explain them to the students, because I think a lot of the time perfectionism also goes with the kids who procrastinate. So they procrastinate to the point where they don't have that much time to do it, and then they like pressure themselves so much to make it perfect. And I feel like a lot of the time they procrastinate because they don't understand like how much time they actually need to do stuff.
I think, we obviously have some supports within CSSS, and I think, and I'm not sure because they have different groups that they have year to year too for students. I think, that's obviously a good place to have supports. And I guess just giving students an opportunity to kind of, realize that it's totally fine that they feel this, but at the same time, they don't want it to impede them being successful at school or in other things too.
The disconnect between students and teachers about this often silent struggle is evident, and with exams looming closer, the difficulties students face become clearer. But if students and teachers discuss and look closer, they'll see it won't take much to solve this problem.